Better get the microphone. Wanted to do a quick update. Spotted a trade idea that I like just now with a coin that I did well before with in the past, and that is MOG. I do like MOG a lot. I have an affinity towards mogging. Now, this particular coin has now found its low at the 786 and is forming a nice inverse head and shoulder bottoming pattern. So you can see left shoulder, head, right shoulder. The measured move is approximately up into the 236. So if you take this to the next line, it might actually go higher, to be honest. Yeah, it could go higher. Obviously, that's probably a fib level, logical fib level. Yeah, so I mean, look, this is the area that I think will be the easiest in terms of logically a place to take profit, somewhere around here. It could go higher, obviously, but yeah, pretty big move. Looks like is about to happen if this explodes. So there's that. I have taken a long trade position on that. Obviously, would have preferred to have gotten in at the low of the shoulder, but I just wasn't paying attention to this for a while. I was focusing on other things that were more in play. Speaking of which, I'm still in this. Oh, what the hell just happened? I'm still in this trade. Now, what happened was I was long from down here, caught this, and then I had added a couple times to the trade because I was like pretty confident that this was a breakout. Came down, did the retest on this right here. So this was like a 382 retest, I think. And so I assumed that was the retest. So I added on that retest, put a stop loss in, went to bed. And while I was in bed, I saw this come down and take me out slightly. And so I re-entered the long because I was like, this was like a stop hunt of sorts or the real retest or whatnot, right? It just went a little deeper. So now I'm back in the trade. We locked in some profit on this stop, about 1500-ish. And now the trade is up 1300 at the moment. Currently slightly underwater on the MOG trade. I just entered the long. It's just going to take a bit of oomph to get the hell out of this range and break out, but I do have a good feeling it's going to today. Palantir. In my previous video, I mentioned I had sold all my Palantir in this region and gone short. Then the market faked everybody out after earnings to tap the 165% extension and nuked. I have put options open currently. This is a bear flag in my opinion. Now on this day, my puts were, because of the implied volatility, was quite high, were deep in profits. I did not take profits. Admittedly, yesterday when I saw that, I was like, to be honest, I don't trade options enough to have enough experience with those sorts of moves where, I'm used to just longing and shorting. So trading options, for me, is still trying to master the best way to do that. Admittedly, like taking profits yesterday probably would have been good on this big drop because of the volatility was just so extreme that the IV was elevated. Therefore, I was up a bunch. I was up quite a lot, on this put trade. But now it's actually in the red today because of this retracement it's doing. But the option doesn't expire to the 16th over here, right? So I have all of this time for it to get below $100, and this is the one of the more immediate expirations. The other one's in October, so I've got plenty of time for this trade to play out and get below or get closer to my level. But this trade, I need it to be below 100 before the 16th for it to be profitable. And yeah, I just think that this is just gonna fizzle out and then follow this fractal probably. Be by the time it gets to the 16th, hopefully we'll be around trading around $80. So we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you guys posted on that one. In terms of Bitcoin, take my moggles off for the day. Much easier to see now. In terms of Bitcoin, so this keyboard, I broke my keyboard on the weekend and I ordered a new keyboard today. It arrived, but the language is in Spanish, which is not helpful. So I have to get a new one. Bitcoin. Now, I mentioned that I was expecting a pullback here on my last videos, I believe, into at least 95k, but we got an even deeper retracement into 93ish, right? Into this anchored VWAP plus there's like a golden pocket here or something like that from memory, or 786. I believe it's a golden pocket. Oh my goodness. Sorry, this magnet tool can be really frustrating and my control key is broken, so that's super irritating. Yeah, so we got just below the optimal entry. Bounced back up. Now we're back in the golden pocket. I am still of the bias that we get to 102. I know that this is also a potential level, the 99k, and it's also the 100k psychological. But the reason being I have this target, and I haven't seen anyone else talking about this, at least from the so-called best traders in the world, aka Lucky Ape, Lucky Chart Ape, or whatever his name is, and Daniel from Chart Champions. His target is 98k, and I have much respect for Daniel just because I learned a lot from him personally. So this is not a diss to him at all. I haven't seen him mention this measured move. That seems obvious into the 786. You know, he's sort of harping on about the whole $98,000 level because it's a harmonic target lined up with like this level and a couple other things that he saw on the chart. Now, he could be right. He's a very good trader, but my bias is just I like Fibonacci a lot, and I've seen this happen a lot, and I think that we'll probably get a bit of price rejection up here, but ultimately I don't think the real retracement, if there's going to be one, will happen until we reach this measured move of 102,000. And then I think you would take a fib from the point of breakout potentially, or from the entire range, and look for, you know, where's support going to be if this is the pullback. And so you could do retracement, all right, and look for good confluence. So you could say that, okay, and then we could go daily breakout level right here. I don't know if we'd go the low of this, what would be better. And so you can fiddle with this and just see if there's anything that lines up, right? This is the thing with trading. It's a bit of an art form and a science at the same time. So you do have to use discretion sometimes to figure out where the pivots might be, where and how you're going to look for confluence. And it is a bit subjective sometimes, just like trend lines can be subjective. But yeah, that's sort of, I am of the personal belief that if we were to retrace, we would at least come back and fill this gap imbalance, right? If we use this tool, this indicator, sometimes it shows you, yeah, so we've got this 4-hour gap or imbalance. So I like to see these build. They tend to fill, expansions tend to fill, you know, in a lot of cases, not always. So if I were looking for a higher low play, I would look here. Personally, 88, 89,000. And then I would look for obviously a level of confluence there, which could be, let's say, this fib pull. No, nothing there. Okay, so we have this level, this 50% level, which could be, you know, that's the fib pull where this low was found, right? This is a weekly pivot to a high. 786 was the low. It's now broken out of this structure and it's starting to trend up. So we could see this move, then a higher low down here somewhere to fill that inefficiency, and then go higher. Now you got the LATF guy. I don't know what his name is. I just know him by that on Twitter. He's got quite a big following, and I learned a little bit from his stuff too. He has his eyes set on 69k, and I know why. It's a Fibonacci retracement / point of control confluence around 69k that he's looking at, I believe, around here. And he's bare posting about that, and I think he's just trying to be edgy and contrarian, and I just don't know if he's considering the context of this completely. Maybe he's right. Maybe it does nuke. I don't know. I at least think we're going to get up to 115. If we're going to continue downwards, we should at least come and fill this 65%. However, if we can clear this with strength and break through this, then I do believe that we're going much higher. I believe we're going to go up to around 165 to 180 this cycle. And that's of my personal belief. And so that is my plan for this market. Moving forward, this was a chart request from a friend of mine. So I will quickly take a look at Verasity. This is a bit of an older project. Two of my smart friends like it, and you know, I understand that it's an advertising related coin. I don't know too much about it, but you know, I previously was in the internet marketing space, so you know, I also had some interest in this project back when it came out. Not so much anymore. I like to trade what moves and what's sort of in play and what has a good narrative and is more current. I'm not a huge fan of trying to getting married to old projects, even if the fundamentals are great, just because it's crypto and the money flows where the attention is, really. My experience, it's not, you know, there are a lot of projects out there with great fundamentals that just don't get any love, and that's just unfortunate, but it's still the reality. People tend to flock towards where the volatility is, or where the gains can be made, where the hype is, where the attention is. We're in an attention economy, in my opinion. So anyway, Verasity has, I think this is linear scale from memory. No, logarithmic. It has found its low now, so it's probably bottomed out at the 786 log. Very high probability of a bottom. It has now bounced around 200%, well, slightly more, 250%, but now it's rejecting off this golden pocket. So yeah, right as it stands, it's still in this downtrend. However, I believe the bottom is probably in. It might come down and retest this, form a second bottom, but it's gonna, in my opinion, gonna build more structure before we get an actual move higher, if at all. In terms of timing, I'd have to go look at if there's a, yeah, let's see if there's full history of this coin. So in terms of timing, how long this might take. So this is where I would look. November, which is a long time away. So personally, I'm not interested in this coin until November. Or at least the 1-to-1. Let me just see the 1-to-1. So the 1-to-1 was here, and that just was not useful at all. So where am I interested? The 1.618 or an actual move higher. So if you're looking to buy this coin and trade this coin, maybe wait till then for some potentially actual serious moves. So you can just set alert on a vertical line there and wait for that, or wait for a break above this level and then a retest, because then you start getting into potentially a trend reversal territory. Okay, so you can set an alert here, and essentially, if we get this and then this, then it could be a good trade. But I am of the belief that this is probably going to roll over again at some point, either form a higher low or a double bottom, and then get the big move, and that's going to take some time. How high does it go? Who knows? It might just be a mean reversion play. We might only ever get back up to this or this. That's funny. The line was perfect. We might only get up to here. For some reason, if it does make new highs, you could do a couple things. You could try a trend-based fib. Oh, that's the wrong one. Extension, sorry. And given this is already on log scale, we're going to stick with logarithmic scale, not linear. Okay, so we're going to do this. And that's not very useful. Like, this is not happening. This is unlikely. It's not getting that high. It's not going to $17. Don't be delusional. So deleting that. That makes no sense to me. So we can try, instead, we can try this. Bit more realistic, still pretty high targets, but for the bull tards that want to be ridiculously bullish Verasity, I mean, that's your target, right? I don't believe that's going to happen personally. Find that unrealistic. You could also just go more reasonable and conservative and say, okay, from this price it could do a 42x, 43x if it wants to make a new high. That's also one potential option. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's just too many coins, too much dilution in the market to see a 500x on something like Verasity that's old and has a lot of price history, and I don't see a reason why it would do that. Unless it's like, I don't know, has government contracts or something ridiculous and billions are pouring in for some God-given reason. I don't know. I just don't see that happening. I think most of these old coins, the play is just the mean reversion. Take it up to the golden pocket, 786, and then your risk reward at this point is diminished greatly. If you're a trader, if you're an investor, do what you want. Believe, just believe, as Murad would say. But I don't play that game anymore. I've round-tripped profits one too many times. Having that mindset. I got a little sucked in with the whole MOG meme, and I was up quite a lot on MOG. I got in at a 30 million market cap, rode it up to 1.5 billion, and against my own intuition, I did not sell because I had promoted the hell out of this meme coin to friends and family, which also invested, and so it kind of built upon this guilt that I had to sell. I didn't want to dump on my friends and family. Ultimately, there were a lot of red flags when it came to that coin, and I did not sell, and it ended up nuking like 90%. So I lost majority of that money, unfortunately. So don't do that. That's the millionth time that I've done that in crypto, where I just, for some reason, did not sell. And that's actually what inspired me to become a trader and learn trading and have these more objective, realistic targets instead of hopium and not having any understanding or guidance into like where prices could go. And yeah, it's helped me greatly so far in terms of managing my risk and just knowing that there are ceilings and caps to these things. They don't go up forever, and there is a bit of a rhyme and reason to things, and it's not as random as everyone thinks. There are